Hi everyone, Helen Blunden here. Hope you're happy, healthy and well. It is time for a new book review, and this time I have a Japanese author who has received many prizes for her writing, and she's a young author. And the book I'm talking about is There's No Such Thing as an Easy Job. As you can see, once again, it is a library book, and then when I read the side of the book here, there is no such thing as an... I had to pull out the book to see what was written on the cover, and as soon as I saw this, an easy job with a head on the desk like that, despondent, frustrated, irritated, tired, depressed, I went, that's me. I didn't really. I looked at it and I went, I want to find out if there is such a thing as an easy job. Let's see what she gets up to. So the person in this book, she's a young 36-year-old woman who is completely burnt out from work, completely burnt out. And so she needs a big break. We can understand that she's probably slightly depressed. She wants to be more of a recluse. She wants to find work simply because she has bills to pay, but she doesn't want a job that is going to tie her down as to permanent or contract. She simply doesn't want it. She's been so burnt out that she can't think straight. All she wants is a job where she can go, she can do some very meaningless task that she doesn't have to think or emotionally invest herself in because she is totally spent. And I totally get this. You know how sometimes books come into your life for a reason? I think this book came into my life for a reason. And you know, reading it, I'm at a point in my life where I could say I'm in between jobs, but I am going to say that I'm probably semi-retired. Let's just say that. And reading this, post-COVID, post types of jobs I've had, post being emotionally invested into the types of roles and things that I've been doing, and feeling as if I've been getting nowhere, that I thought, oh my God, this is what I felt about my life. But let's go back to the book. The book is about this young woman. She's 36 years old, and we realize that she's had a job in the past that has obviously affected her. We don't know what that job was, but she's burnt out, she could be depressed, and she goes to a recruiter and she says she just needs a menial job. She just wants a job where she doesn't have to think. She could just go do what she has to do and then go home. No thinking, no emotional investment, no labor of any thought, no decision making, you know. And this is quite, for me, that is really attractive, because you get to a point where you go in life, I do not want the shit of everyone else. I want to be able to do what I have to do, but do not suck me into anything else at work. Ever get that way? I know you do. I'm sure you do. I'm sure that there are lots of people out there, pre and post COVID, who are feeling exactly the same thing as this protagonist. So the recruiter finds the different transitional types of roles. Now these roles are really bizarre. There was a role where she had to look at someone and his life. So obviously they had a camera set up into someone's house, and they were, through surveillance, they wanted to find out whether he was getting contraband. And all she had to do was just watch this guy get on with his life, which was pretty boring. Another job was she had to create bus advertisements and posters for buses. So she was involved with writing the copy for that. Another job, which was the last story of this book, which is the job that I would have loved, was there was a hut in the middle of a forest where she just simply had to observe the goings on in a forest. Any strange situations, any, you know, clothes that would have been dropped by certain people, she just simply had to survey that. But all these jobs had an element of the weirdness about them. So you read them and you would think, is this a ghost story? Or it is so bizarre. An example was, you know, for every poster that or advert that she would write on the bus, that the business would then appear but then once the advert was down, the business would disappear. So I had these really weird storylines that bordered on some kind of eeriness or supernatural or ghost story or something like that, but you didn't know where it was going. Some reviewers have also said that it was very comical. I didn't find it as comical. I found her observations of others quite amusing in some way, but amusing as in not ha 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 ha, but amusing, you know, as in we've seen and we have probably felt the way that she has felt in her work. So the themes of this book are really all about, I'm going to say, the Japanese work culture, but I'm more inclined to say that it is more and more becoming the Western work culture. A culture where you do, what you're expected to do, but your heart is not in it. And if you invest yourself emotionally in your work, either the hierarchy or the work situations or something about the work environment will get you down, will put you down, would not value you, would not acknowledge the work that you're doing. So you go to work and you feel meaningless, unvalued, unacknowledged, unsupported. So these were the elements I got out of this book. So she was going to these different types of transitional jobs, but the good parts of these jobs were from the interactions and the relationships she had with her other workmates, which is true. When we go to a workplace, usually we stay, we enjoy, simply because of our work colleagues. That's what makes it interesting, the social interactions at our work with our workmates. But usually what happens is it's the other stuff, it's the expectations, it's the environment that you're in, it's the expectations of your managers or senior leaders, it's the jealousy that might come from people wanting to be promoted or to get into your role. It's all the other stuff that really gets you down. What this protagonist, all she wanted was to basically get away, to kind of disappear, to kind of go and hide into herself, which is exactly what I have been doing for the last year or so, where I also have been doing exactly the same things. She's doing it in one way, I'm doing it in my own different way of like getting off social media, kind of rethinking where my focus should lie, rethinking the types of relationships I want in my life, stopping some of the toxic relationships in my life. People who have supported me, I will help and continue. Those who haven't, pretty much on the outer now. In some way, I kind of really resonated with this book because I too have also felt that I needed a job to just not do anything to get outside of myself, get outside of my thinking, which is what she is doing. So the themes in this book are all about depression. It's about loneliness. It's about toxic workplaces. It's about extreme burnout. It is about, there's a couple of words you meant, emotional labor. When you're emotionally invested in the work that you do, yet somehow it's not appreciated or not acknowledged. It is a book that I really enjoyed reading simply because it is something that I have been going through, and maybe that is the reason why I was compelled to finish and read it. It is a hefty book. But throughout the different jobs that she has, there's no real linkages as such. It's not one long storyline. There are some links that link one job to the next, and the characters that link one job to the next. But ultimately, this is a story about people wanting to get back to themselves, to re-establish and refocus on what is important in their life, somehow make sense of a work situation where they simply can't function anymore, and they need to get back to themselves in order to feel themselves once again. I would highly recommend this book. I love this book. It's called There's No Such Thing as an Easy Job. There isn't a thing as an easy job. There is no easy job. It is, for me, it is, I guess, being in a work environment where everyone is acknowledged and appreciated for the skills, the experiences, and the capabilities that they bring. And it is also about the relationships and how those relationships are fostered, nurtured, and supported in the workplace, not only by peers, but also managers. And also, like I said, there is an element of kind of like the supernatural or the weirdness about it that was a bit of a quirk that I also liked. So that's There's No Such Thing as an Easy Job by Kikuko Tsumura. It is a book that has also been out now for a couple of years, published in 2020. I would say this would be a really good book club book. Very well worth it. It was translated from Japanese to English by Polly Barton as well. So that is it. Hope you enjoyed the review. If you've read this book, please let me know what you thought. Thank you for listening and thank you for watching. There is no such thing as an easy job. Bye for now.